The Bloodline made another masterpiece at the Royal Rumble with zero input from fantasy booking. Yet fans are still out here trying to book Sami Zayn for WrestleMania.
Wow, you're in the mix with Pro Wrestling Bits.
WWE Royal Rumble ended with one of the greatest angles in WWE history. The type of angle that had once-in-a-generation heat. Whether it was a decibel-breaking pop for Sami Zayn standing up to Roman Reigns, or the deafening chants of "Fuck you, Roman" from the San Antonio Alamodome. God, if great sex was a storyline, I'd still be having a cigarette after the Royal Rumble. WWE's created a whole Bloodline universe with no less than 6 deeply fleshed out characters. Internal emotional conflicts, like Jey Uso's, can be understood with a simple facial expression. The Bloodline is a story of power, loyalty, and brotherhood. Speaking of which, quick sidebar, the Super Bowl will pit the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles, and it'll be the first time ever 2 brothers play against each other in a Super Bowl. Those brothers, of course, are Pat Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. Because this will be the first Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks, smack dab in the middle of Black History Month. How many Super Bowl parties will be serving sweet potato pie that night? The media has already fallen in love with the Kelsey versus Kelsey narrative, but with all this black history being made at Super Bowl 57, let's not just talk about the white brothers playing in this game. Anyway, Sami Zayn has been a great white brother to the Bloodline as its honorary Uso. When all is said and done, this might be the greatest storyline WWE ever did in the modern era. If Hollywood wasn't so obsessed with showering sexual predators with its awards and accolades, they'd consider WWE's Bloodline storyline for an Emmy. By the way, now that Vince McMahon is back, shouldn't that give WWE more of a chance to win an Emmy, given how much alleged sexual predators are celebrated in Hollywood? More on WrestleMania Hollywood very soon, and I can't wait. Headed into the Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn was a trendy pick to win it all. Should I pick Sami Zayn to win the Royal Rumble? In fact, fantasy booking got so out of control that Sami Zayn himself addressed it during an interview with Ariel Helwani.
The fans are going to be very upset if you don't win the Rumble.
I don't know that in the fans' minds, maybe me and you are looking at it at a certain way because we're kind of like diehards, you know? But I think there's a lot of casual fans who are just kind of along for the ride.
Sami Zayn is 100% right. Because just like Daniel Bryan in 2014, Sami wasn't even in the Royal Rumble. Unlike 2014 though, fans were perfectly fine with that as they cheered Cody Rhodes to his first Royal Rumble win. Let's go, Cody! WWE live events have been selling out week after week, month after month. And while its TV audience is mostly hardcore, the people going to these events are not the entitled internet wrestling fans from a decade ago who hijacked shows. The Alamodome was filled with a WWE-friendly crowd that just wanted to be entertained. The best kind of wrestling crowd. Therefore, they just let WWE cook. And even though WWE's plans did not align with all the crazy hypotheticals floating around, the payoffs were better than anybody could have imagined. And there were no chance of "we want Rocky" or "we want Sami." Headed into the Rumble, there were all kinds of speculation and demands, like how Sami Zayn must win the Royal Rumble, or that Austin might show up, or how Dwayne might show up. None of that happened, but the Bloodline still had an all-time segment. What does that tell you? WWE's job is not to listen to the fans. That's bullshit. Listen to the fans long enough and you'll be sitting with them. WWE did not assemble an entire team of writers and some of the best wrestling minds in the business for Twitter to book its storylines. WWE's job is to understand its fan base, so even if its plans don't line up perfectly with fantasy booking, they still lead to great payoffs. Not because WWE listened to fans, but because it understands what will make them happy. Lucky for you, I know exactly what will make you happy. A word from our sponsor, Let's Get Checked. Guys, if you're thinking about your 2023 bodybuilding goals, then I have an important message for you. Hitting your goals are going to be next to impossible if your testosterone levels are in decline. It doesn't matter how old you are. The average male testosterone level has been declining at a rate of 1% per year since the 1980s. Low T can lead to lack of strength, decreases in bulk, and even male menopause, which causes a lower sex drive. I urge you to test your testosterone levels in 2023, and you can do it all with help from today's sponsor, Let's Get Checked. I love Let's Get Checked because it gives me the freedom to measure my testosterone levels without having to get permission from a doctor first. You don't have to leave your home, you don't have to get off your couch, you don't have to go to a lab to get your blood drawn. It's very convenient. Here's me taking the test myself. Just took a quick and painless blood sample, followed the user-friendly instructions, and sent this bad boy to the lab. Got my results back that same week, and here they are. Long story short, my testosterone levels are lit because, like Hangman Adam Page, I am a man! According to the analytics for this wrestling YouTube channel, so are you probably. Once your sample arrives in the laboratory, confidential results will be available on your secure online account in 2 to 5 days. Let's Get Checked laboratories are CLIA and CAP approved, which is the highest level of accreditation. Your results are reviewed by a member of the Let's Get Checked clinical team, and they can even give you a virtual consultation, and in some cases, the clinical team can prescribe you medication that'll be ready at the pharmacy of your choice. So if you want to test your testosterone levels from the comfort of your own home, visit trylgc.com/prowrestlingbits for 25% off using the code WRESTLING25, also available in my description. With all these wild scenarios floating around before the Royal Rumble, what if somebody suggested, how about Sami Zayn doesn't even compete in the Royal Rumble? Instead, he smacks Roman Reigns with a chair and gets his ass beat. The entitled hardcore audience would have revolted at the idea of such a segment. It sounds boring and nothing happening, and it doesn't placate the IWC's insatiable need to have a former ROH champion hoist a fake WWE brass ring. But that boring scenario is exactly what WWE went with, and it couldn't have gone any better. Fans wanted Sami to win the Royal Rumble, and WWE was like, that's cute, we've got something better. And they did. Even after the Royal Rumble delivered an all-time segment and broke all-time records, the greedy wrestling media is still trying to strong-arm WWE into having Sami Zayn main event WrestleMania. Truth is, a lot of the entitled wrestling fans who threaten to riot if they don't get their way have gone off to support AEW because it's much easier for the fans and media to bully that promoter. Chris Jericho called for Sami Zayn to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania because of course that wrestler is going to try to tell the promoter how to book its product. He's in AEW, where Tony Khan's leadership is sus, and as a result, the talent, fans, and media tell him what to do. WWE, on the other hand, clearly doesn't need any help booking this product. Fantasy booking is fun. We all do it. But for a while there, like from WrestleMania 30 to WrestleMania 35, fans became obsessed with trying to hijack creative by changing WrestleMania main events with their outrage. That simply doesn't seem to be the case with this generation of fans, thank God. When WWE changes its plans because of fan outrage, that's partly the fault of entitled fans, but it's also the fault of WWE being unable to tell a compelling story. With the Bloodline, even when WWE's plans don't line up with what the entitled IWC was begging for, the segments are so good that fans forget what they were even fantasy booking in the first place. WWE is cooking creatively. The Royal Rumble featured the stars of tomorrow like Gunther, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Cody effing Rhodes. Let's go, Cody! Hasn't WWE earned the right to book a road to WrestleMania without having to worry about fans upending their plans? What, because some journeyman indie darling didn't go on last? The greedy wrestling media will continue to try to force the issue with Sami Zayn like he's Scientology. They'll try to narrative Sami Zayn into the WrestleMania main event because they can't help themselves. In fact, as the most handsome member of the wrestling media, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do with Sami Zayn. You need to shut the fuck up and let WWE tell this Bloodline story, because they haven't missed yet. Instead of all these entitled headlines about what Sami Zayn must do, headlines need to start being like, WWE fans must shut the fuck up about Sami Zayn and let the Triple H era do its thing. Talking about, if Sami doesn't win, we riot. More like, if Sami doesn't win, be quiet. WWE's got this for a change. Through the Bloodline story alone, they've earned the trust of fans to support WWE's direction, even if Sami Zayn doesn't win the WWE title at WrestleMania. All this talk of fans possibly turning on Cody Rhodes in favor of Sami Zayn sounds like a fake controversy. One that's limited to just the hardcore fan base that's lost its influence as to how WWE books its product. It's gonna hurt to hear this if you're one of those spoiled brats within the internet wrestling crybabies, but nobody's turning on anything this WrestleMania season. There's a lot of reasons for that. Not only is there a smaller percentage of hardcores to disrupt WWE's plans, there's better leadership now. The Triple H era hasn't been perfect, but when it has to be great, it's hit a grand slam every single time. WWE under the Triple H era no longer has the antagonistic relationship with its fan base the way it was during Vince McMahon's last few years in creative, where Vince tried to force his batshit storylines on his audience. That, combined with more casual fans coming to shows during WWE's resurgence, means the vocal hardcore minority has gotten back to being just that, a minority. Plus, due to tribalism and legit competition from AEW, WWE fans these days are much more loyal to the product and much less likely to turn on it. The Cincinnati Bengals tried to turn heel for the sake of being healed, and they got their asses yeeted from the NFL playoffs like Skyline chili off an edible food menu. Whether it's an unwarranted heel turn or fans turning on the product, some of these motherfuckers need to stop turning, stand at attention, and shut the fuck up this WrestleMania season. Check out this video breaking down the two big favorites of the Royal Rumble. Let's go, Cody! And subscribe, and I promise to let you, the subscriber, help me book this channel's next video. Will WWE continue to knock it out the park with the Bloodline? Will Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania without incident? He goddamn better. Tell me in the comments!